Imagine you are stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic. You are just completely gridlocked, gripping the steering wheel in frustration. But right in your backyard, there's this empty 8-lane highway that you refuse to use.
Yeah, that is quite a frustrating image.
Right. Well, welcome to this deep dive into Mumbai's astonishing 70-year water metro plan. We are looking at a city that literally transformed from an archipelago into a peninsula, but has historically, just turned its back on the water around it.
Which is wild when you really think about it.
Exactly. So our mission today is to explore how turning the city's underutilized rivers and creeks into a 340-kilometer navigable loop could finally solve its legendary congestion. Okay, let's unpack this.
It is quite the geographic irony, really. Because the core of this plan, what they're calling the Blue Lifeline, is all about leveraging the natural hydrological spine that is already there.
Oh, you mean the rivers?
Yeah, specifically the Ulhas River and the surrounding estuarine systems like Thane Creek. But nature didn't exactly provide a perfect circle for transit.
Right, the waterways branch out.
Exactly. Meaning to get a continuous high-capacity loop, you need some massive engineering to connect the dots.
Right, and to make that continuous loop, the plan calls for a missing link solution, which basically means excavating a 5.5-kilometer artificial canal straight through the low-lying salt pans of Navi Mumbai.
Yeah, and what is really brilliant here is that digging this channel doesn't just connect the Panvel and Thane Creeks for transit. It actually acts like unclogging a massive natural drain.
Oh, because it allows the ocean tides to finally rush in and flush out the stagnant, polluted water in Panvel Creek.
Precisely. It solves an ecological issue while simultaneously closing the transit circuit. But, the engineering required to actually run boats through that newly connected loop is incredibly complex.
Which is where I have to push back a little. I mean, digging a canal through salt pans is one thing, but actually moving vessels through these waters seems like a logistical nightmare.
Well, why do you say that?
Because the data shows the least available depth near Kalyan is under 2 meters, so the water is incredibly shallow. Plus, past water transit initiatives in Mumbai failed entirely because of the last-mile gap.
Right.
You get off a boat and you're just stranded. How is this actually viable for you, the daily commuter?
Well, you're hitting on the two biggest hurdles right there. I mean, to deal with the shallow water without resorting to, massive disruptive dredging, they are deploying slender hull electric catamarans.
Wait, really? Electric catamarans?
Yeah. These boats have a loaded draft of just 1.2 meters, so the bottom of the boat only sits about 4 feet below the surface.
Oh, I get it. So they just kind of glide right over the shallow spots.
Exactly. And they also use a specialized low-wake design. Instead of pushing massive amounts of water aside and creating large destructive waves, these twin hulls just slice cleanly through the water.
Which is huge because that prevents bank erosion and protects the fragile mangrove roots in the nearby Thane Creek Flamingo Sanctuary.
Spot on. So the specialized hulls solve the environmental and shallow water problems. But as you mentioned, historically, that hasn't mattered if commuters get stranded at a dock miles from their office.
Right, the dreaded last-mile gap. How does this plan cross it?
They are adapting the Kochi model of total multimodal integration. The terminals feature dedicated skywalks connecting directly to the Suburban Railway, plus integrated bus bays.
Oh, so the One Mumbai smart card they are rolling out isn't just a payment method. It is the digital glue holding the water and land networks together, making the transition completely frictionless.
Exactly. The operational guarantee is that you can reach your final destination within 10 to 15 minutes of stepping off the catamaran.
Wow. A 15-minute guarantee from dock to desk is a bold promise for a city famous for hour-long gridlocks. And here's where it gets really interesting. The budget.
Oh yeah, the numbers are wild.
The entire capital expenditure for this 340-kilometer water network is projected at roughly 10,000 crore rupees. To put that in perspective for you, that is just 5% of the cost of Mumbai's 14-line terrestrial metro plan.
Only 5%. That is just incredible.
Right. That massive cost drop happens because water transit eliminates the hardest parts of urban infrastructure. I mean, you don't have to buy out prime downtown real estate or use massive boring machines to tunnel under skyscrapers. The tracks are already built. They're just made of water.
That's the beauty of it. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the economics are just the beginning. We have to look at the 70-year climate reality.
Because of the sea level rise?
Yeah. By the year 2100, Mumbai is projected to see sea levels rise by 0.58 meters. So the water metro isn't just transit, it is actually climate adaptation.
Ooh, I see.
They are designing future terminals to be completely amphibious, meaning they float and rise with the tides, preventing structural failure as sea levels permanently increase.
That is fascinating.
And looking ahead to 2075, the plan transitions the fleet to Level 4 AI autonomous navigation. These vessels will use onboard sensors to safely pilot themselves without a human captain, dynamically adjusting their routes in real time based on shifting tidal heights.
So what does this all mean? Ultimately, we are looking at the vision of a metropolis finally reclaiming its aquatic heritage and turning a blind spot into its biggest asset.
It really is a complete paradigm shift.
It is, and it leaves you with a really provocative thought to ponder. As rising sea levels force coastal megacities all around the world to adapt over the next century, will the encroaching waters stop being viewed as a looming threat and instead become the very infrastructure that saves them?
That is the million-dollar question.
Definitely. Maybe it's time we all start looking a little closer at that empty highway in our backyard.